Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. Onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. Enjoy! So we're going to start by writing 5/9 as a decimal. And to do that, we just need to do 5 divided by 9, which will be 0.5 recurring. And to convert between a decimal and a percentage, we just times by 100. So we're going to get that 0.5 recurring, and we're going to times it by 100. And that will equal 55.555 recurring. And to the nearest percent, that's going to be 56, because that 5 will move that 5 up by 1. So this person's at Ashcook at 2017. So they're going to have missed this train here, and they're going to have missed this train here. So those are off, but they will be in time for this train here. And we're looking for the time it hits rise down. So it will get to flute at 2052. And then rise down will be at 2124. So 55% is the same as 55 over 100. And what I can do is I can divide top of the fraction by 5. And so that is going to equal 11 over 20. Now in total there are 20 squares here, because there's 5 across and 4 down. 5 times 4 is 20. And if there's 20 squares and we're looking to shade in 11/20ths, it's just going to be 11 squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to start just by writing down the number. And we're asked to round this to 3 significant figures. And basically what that means is, starting from the left-hand side, it's 3 numbers that we want. So 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do our line after that third number. And you start counting the first non-zero digit. So the first digit there was 2, so we started counting. Now all the numbers to the left, or sorry, to the right, so these numbers here, will all turn to 0. But before that happens, we look at this number. Now this number, if it's 5 or more, it moves this number up by 1. If it's less than 5, that number stays the same. Now it is 5 or more, because it is 5, so it's not going to be 207, it's going to be 208. Now a common mistake is that students write down 208. No. All the numbers to the right of that line turn to 0. So it would be 0, 0, 0. So it would be 20,000 or 208,000 exactly. When collecting terms, you've got to make sure you're collecting like terms. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this question out, but I'm going to use a different colour for all the things that are like terms. So we've got the 14x, we've got the 8x squared, we've got the 8x, and we've got the minus 5x squared. So the like terms are the x terms, so 14x plus, I should say 8x, plus 8x. And the x squared terms are like terms, so we've got 8x squared, take away 5x squared. So we can do 14x plus 8x, so 14 lots of x plus 8 lots of x is going to be 22 lots of x. And we can do 8x squared minus 5x squared, 8 lots of x squared, take away 5 lots of x squared is going to be 3 lots of x squared. Now typically in our answer we'll always put the x squareds first, so it becomes 3x squared plus 22x. So to solve this, I'm going to first of all just write out the question just to make it a bit bigger. First thing we do is put in our solving lines. So we just put a set of lines to the left and the right of the equals. And what we need to do is get the x on its own. So looking around, there's this 11 we want to get rid of, and this take away 5 we want to get rid of. Always get rid of the plus or the take away first. So we're going to focus on this minus 5. We've got to figure out what is the opposite, what's the inverse of take away 5. Well, the inverse is going to be plus 5. Now we can't just do that to the left hand side, we've got to do it to the right hand side as well. So we add 5 to both sides. When we add 5 to the left hand side, we're just left with the 11x. On the right hand side, we do 28 plus 5, which is 33. Now, we still don't have x on its own. We've got this 11 here. Now, what is that 11 doing? Well, that 11 is a times 11. It's multiplying x by 11. So to get rid of it, we need to do the inverse of times 11, the opposite, which is divided by 11. And what we do to one side, we must do to the other side. So we're going to divide 11 both sides. That will leave us just the x on the left-hand side, and 33 divided by 11 is 3. So the word solve means find out what x equals, and we've done that. To find the factors of 30, we're just going to write down all the factor pairs, or all the pairs of numbers that multiply together to make 30. So 1 times 30 is 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10. Now 4 doesn't go because 30 is not in the 4 times table. 5 times 6, and we notice that if we pick 6, it's just going to be 6 times 5, it's just going to be the opposite. So the factors are all the numbers that we've just written down, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. So for this question, we need to convert the percentage to a decimal. So to do that, we get that 8.9%, and we just divide by 100. And so that will give us 0.089. And so we get that 0.089. Of normally means times in maths, so we just go times that by 457, and that will give us 40.67. The first thing to do when working out what angle things need to be on a pie chart is to add up the frequencies. So we're going to do 14 plus 7 plus 3, and we find out that that's 24. Then we're going to find the angle that one item would be. So one item is going to be, well, there are 360 degrees in a triangle, and there are 24 items. So we're going to do 360 divided by 24, and that gives us 15 degrees. So each item is worth 15 degrees, or will take up 15 degrees. So to find out the angle for red, well, we've got 14 items, times it by 15, and that will give us 210 degrees. And we're just going to times each of these by 15, which would be 105, and the final one times 15 is 45 degrees. Add them up, and they add up to 360, which is good. They need to add up to 360. So we got our protractor, rest it on the pie chart. Now we know 180 is down here, so the first thing we're going to do is just mark that on, because the first angle is going to be 210, so we know that's 180 so far. So I'm going to turn my protractor around, and from 180, 210 will be another 30, so I'm just going to plot that on, and then I'm going to join it up. So start at the center and join that up, and we're going to stop when the circle stops. Then to do 105, we're going to put our protractor in the middle, and we're going to look at 105, which will be up here, and then we're just going to join it up with a straight line. And then we're just going to check the last angle, and so if I put my protractor on it, and it is 45 degrees. Perfect. Now, an important step to not miss is you need to label them. And so the first one is red, the second one is blue, and then the final one is other. We've got to first of all work out how many parts there are altogether in our ratio. So we've got 51 saying yes, 7 saying no, and 13 undecided. So altogether, we've got 51 plus 7 plus 13, which is 71 parts. Now each part is equal. So to find out the value of one part, we're going to do how many students there are, which is 2,911, and divide it by the 71 to find out what one part is worth, how many students are in one part. One part's worth 41 students. So each one of those parts in the ratio is 41 students. Now yes, because it goes yes, no, undecided, yes will be the 51 there. So it's 51 lots of 41 students. 51 parts with each part representing 41 students. And when you multiply those together, you get 2,091. So our answer is that 2,091 students responded with yes. So the only options for the next card are for them to be higher, lower, or equal to 12. We already know that the probability for it being higher is 19% and lower is 28%, and all probabilities have to add up to 1, or in this case, because it's percentages, 100%. So to work out the probability that is missing, we're going to take away the 19% and the 28% away from 100% to see what's left, and that's 53%. The first piece of information I'm going to focus on is the fact Denver gets 8/19. Denver gets 8/19, that means that Engel and Fido together must get 11/19 because they have to add up to 1. So we're only looking at 11/19. I'm going to focus on the ratio next of Engel to Fido. So it's 9/5. And let's have a look and see, well, first of all, how many parts there are all together. So 9 plus 5, which is 14 parts. So there are 14 parts in total, and the share that they get is 11/19. So what I'm going to do is to find out what fraction one of those parts is worth by dividing 11/19 by 14. So each part is worth, and I'm just going to keep this into my calculator, 0.041 blah blah blah. And we're asked to find Fido's share. Well, Fido has 5 parts. So Fido has 5 parts, each of them worth 0.041 blah blah blah. I've kept it in my calculator to keep the accuracy. And when I do that, I get 0.206 blah blah blah. Now we're asked to work it out as a percent, so I'm just going to times that by 100. So we have 20.676 blah 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 percent, and it wants it rounded to the nearest percent, so that would be 20%. Or actually, it would be 21% because this would round it up, so 21%. There are a number of different ways of working out this question. You can find out the amount of tissues per penny. You can work out the amount of, or the price of one tissue, or you can get all the amount of tissues into the same amount. I'm going to find out the price per one tissue. And we're going to start off with the 24. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert the money into pence just to mean that we don't have as much decimal. And we're going to do 807. I'm going to divide by the 24 to find out the price of one tissue. So that is 33.625. And so I'm just going to round that to 33.63. I'm just going to round everything to 2 decimal places, which says in the question. Next one, we're going to do the 20 soft tissues. So this time I'm going to do 683 divided by 20. When I put that into the calculator, you get 34.15, so that's already 2 decimal places. And then finally we're going to do the 15 soft tissues. So we're going to do the 623 divided by 15 to find the price per tissue. It should be 41.533 blah blah blah. And rounded would be 41.53. So if you buy 15 tissues, it will cost 41 pence. 20 tissues, it will be 34 pence per tissue. but 24 tissues will be 33.63. So that's by far the cheapest. The best value is the 24 tissues box. Now, there's such thing as buying in bulk. Generally, the more you buy of something, the cheaper it is. Don't rely on that. Both in the GCSE, both in the exam, and in real life. Sometimes in real life, if you buy more of an item, actually per tissue, sometimes it becomes more expensive, especially if there's a special offer on the smaller box. So we're asked to reflect this shape across line x equals 0. So we've got to first of all work out where the line x equals 0 is. The line x equals 0 is going to be the y-axis, because it's where anywhere along that line x coordinate is going to be 0. And so to find out where our new shape will be, you pick a point on our triangle and you count how many jumps to get to that line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we count another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of our coordinates is going to be here. Do the same thing again and pick the one to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got a coordinate here. And finally, we've got this coordinate here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you get good at it, you don't necessarily need to do all three. You might only need to do one, and you can figure out the rest of them from that. And let's just make sure this is nice and straight. And it says to label our triangle B. The first thing we need to do is work out what angle CBD is. So we're looking for angle CBD, and that's going to be 180 take away 170. And the reason being is it's angles on straight line. Angles on a straight line add up to 180. So that's going to be 10 degrees. So this will be 10 degrees. We then need to find out what angle CDB is. And this is obviously going to be 10 degrees as well because it's angles in an isosceles. So this will be 10 degrees, and the reason will be that it's an isosceles triangle. And to find out what x is going to be, it's going to be 180 subtract 10 plus 10. And the reason for that is it's angles in a triangle add up to 180. So that's going to be 160 degrees. Make sure you state your reasons for every step of the working out, because there's normally quite a few marks for the reasons. So we've got to first of all make these both the same units, because at the moment they are different units, and when we have ratios we always want to make sure that they have the same units, and then we can get rid of the units. So I'm just going to make them both into grams. I'm going to do that by timesing the right by 1,000. And the reason I've chosen grams rather than kilograms is you want to always pick the smaller unit. Otherwise you'd be left with a decimal on the left hand side. You'd be 0.2, and that can be a bit more complicated. Okay, so I'm going to remove the units now, and we're just going to focus on the numbers. So we can divide both sides by 100 straight off the bat. So we've got 2 to 40. We can see we can divide them both by 2. And so we've got 1 to 20. And so it's 1 gram to 20 grams, or just 1 to 20. So looking at the hours and the charge, we know that 4 hours is a charge, and I'm going to do the charge in pence, of 1,980 pence. And so what I want to do is just work out what 1 is. And to do that, I'm going to divide that by 4. So I'm just going to divide this by 4. It's always useful to find out what 1 is first, so that would be 495. Then all I need to do now is times it by 15, because 1 times 15 is 15. And so we've got 15 hours, and when I times that by 15, I get 7425. So it'd be £74.25. The front elevation of a shape is the view you'll get if you were standing at the front. So if you imagine you're standing here, the only side you will see is this side here. And what will it look like? Well, it will look like a complete square or rectangle. And how high will it be? Well, it will be 6 centimeters high. And how wide will it be? Well, it will be 2 centimeters wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to just draw a rectangle that is 2 centimeters wide and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 centimeters tall. There we go. And make sure that you don't add any three-dimensional aspects to it, that you don't do something like this, have some 3D stuff on it. No. Whenever you do a front elevation, it's exactly perfectly two-dimensional. There's a formula we use for this, and it is percentage change is equal to the amount that's changed over the original amount, and all of that times 100%. So how much has changed here? Well, we need to do 10,488 take away 10,254, so that would be 234. Divide it by the original, so the original was 10,488 because it's decreased from that amount, and then times by 100%. And so that's going to be 2.23%. So we're going to start by doing a circle at -13 and a circle at -6. And x is between those values, so we're just going to join them up with a line. Probably move my circle down a little bit. Okay, next thing to do is figure out which of these dots are going to be filled in. So if it can equal that number, it gets filled in. So it can equal -13, so I'm going to fill that in. But for -6, it can't equal that, so it becomes a hollow dot. Let's rewrite this expression, but with a time sign in, so v times w squared. Now w squared just means times by itself, so we can rewrite that as v times w times w. Okay, so we know v is -10, so -10. And we know w is -4, so it's times -4 times -4. Okay, so when you multiply, it doesn't matter which order we do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do these ones first, and I'm going to ignore that times -4 at the end. So -10 times -4, that's a minus times a minus, which is a positive, 10 times 4, which is 40, times -4. Now we're going to do 40 times -4, so it's a positive times a negative, so that's going to be a negative. And 40 times 4, well, 4 times 4 is 16, so 40 times 4 is 160. So it's going to be -160. So the only way of answering this question is to work out what these are as ordinary numbers. And so 7 times 10 to the power of 7 would be 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 9 times 10 to the power of 4 would be 90,000, so that would be 9,000,000. And so we're just subtracting them like that. And so we'll get 6991000. And obviously if this is on the calculator paper, just type it into your calculator. There are no tricks here. You can't do anything with the 7 and the 9. You're not subtracting powers or anything. You're just literally typing in what it says. and there's a button on the calculator like that you will need to use. So if you don't know what that is, ask your teacher or ask someone to help you out with that. So let's write these numbers out. And the first thing to do is work out what the numbers are going up by. So they're going up by -3, because they're minusing 3 each time. So we know that the number before the n is going to be -3. So whatever they go up in is the number before the n. Then what we do is we go backwards to find the 0th term. So actually going backwards, we would add 3 and we would find it to be 20. So whatever numbers our 0th term, because 17 is our first term, is going to be what we add to the -3n. So it's going to be add 20. So our answer is -3n plus 20. So we're given 21:4 is the ratio. We're just going to have our lines in, because what we need to do is make the left hand side be 1. Okay? And to do that, for 21 I need to divide it by itself, divide it by 21, and we're going to do the same to the right hand side. So 21 divided by 21 is 1, perfect, that's what we wanted. 4 divided by 21 is 0.190 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so it's going to be 1 to 0.19. Now, between A and B, the shapes haven't changed size, so it's not an enlargement. They haven't rotated or they haven't mirrored, they've just moved. And the word we use for that is translation. So this has been a translation. And for a translation, we need to find out how far right they've gone and how far up they've gone. So we pick a point that we know on both shapes, and I'm going to pick the top left, and we count how many jumps we jump to the right. So 1, 2, 3. So we do 3 jumps to line it up with the other one. So there's a 3 at the top, just say 3 to the right, and then we count how far up we have to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we've actually had to go down, and whenever you go down, it's like having minus up. Okay, down is minus up, so it's going to be -4 because there were 4 jumps. There's an awful lot going on in this question. Whenever there's an awful lot going on, it's always best to draw a diagram. So we're going to start off at Chiltern, which is a C. Then we go to Bolko, that's where we're going, and we go through Devley on the way. So we'll do D there. Distance from Chiltern to Devley is 34 miles. Distance from Devley to Bovlow is 16 miles. So I'm just reading through the question, adding it to my diagram. David leaves Chiltern at 9 o'clock. He drives from Chiltern to Devley an average speed of 68 miles per hour. And what speed does David travel between Devley and Bolko to arrive at 9:45? So the whole duration of this, the whole thing needs to be 45 minutes or 0.75 hours. And the entire distance is 34 plus 16, so that would be 50 miles. Okay, now having a look at this, we need to find out what time David was at Devley. So we're going to use our speed distance time triangle. So speed equals distance over time, and we're covering up the time because that's the one we want. So it's going to be time equals distance, which is 34, over speed, which is 68. So we're going to do 34 divided by 68, which is 0.5. So it would be 0.5 hours. So that would be half an hour. So we will be at Devley at 9:30. So that means we've got 15 minutes left. Okay, so we've got 15 minutes to travel the 16 miles. So this time we're looking for the speed. Okay, so it would be speed equals the distance, which is 16 miles, over time, which is 15 minutes, but we need that in hours, so that would be 0.25 hours. And so what we can do here is times top 1 by 4 to get rid of the fraction. So it becomes 64 over 1, or just 64 miles per hour. So our answer is 64 miles per hour. So the first thing we need to do is work out the mean for the data in the table. So to start off doing that, we're going to work out the midpoint of each group. So we've got 80 to 85, and to find the midpoint, you add the 80 and the 85 together, then you divide by 2. So this will be 82.5, then 87.5, then 92.5, then 97.5, and then finally 100 plus 105 divided by 2 is 102.5. Next we need to find the FT, which is just the frequency times the duration of calls. Now, in this first group, we're not timesing it by 80 to 85 or anything like that. We're timesing it by the midpoint. So our midpoint effectively becomes the T. So we're going to do 15 times that, which will be 1237.5. And we're just going to keep going and multiplying each of these together. And then finally 2050. Right, next we need to add up the frequencies and add up the FTs. So we're going to have the sum of the frequencies. So I'm just adding all this column up, and that will be 80. And we have sum of the FT. And so we're going to just add this column up here. And so that would be 7,450. So what this column represents is all the numbers added up together. This column represents how many numbers we have. So to find the mean, it's all of the numbers added together, which will be 7,450, over the amount of numbers we have, which is 80. So when you do that, we get 93.125. Now this question is about the improvement that we've made, or that the manager has made, the call centre's made. So we're looking at subtracting the 93.125 away from the last week, which was 105. So we're looking for improvement. And we're going to do 105, take away the 93.125. And that's going to be 11.875. Now it does ask for 2 decimal places, so that will be 11.88. We know that when you multiply powers with the same base, and here we've got all these as base v, you add the powers. So we're actually looking at what do we add to 11, which is this one here, to get to the 15. 11 plus 4 is 15. So W therefore equals 4. So we're going to start off with x equals 0, and we're going to write out this equation but with 0 every time it says x. So it's going to be y equals 0 squared minus 0 plus 10. Well, 0 squared is just 0, so 0 take away 0 is just 0, plus 10 is just going to be 10. So the answer there would be 10. Could do the same for 1. So it would be 1 squared minus 1 plus 10. Well, 1 squared is 1, 1 take away 1 is 0, plus 10 is 10. So that will also be 10. 2 squared minus 2 plus 10. 2 squared is 4, 4 take away 2 is 2, plus 10 will be 12. Now we're going to do the negative, so we're going to look at minus 1. So it's y equals minus 1 squared, and it's going to be minus 1 plus 10. So a little bit more complicated here. Minus 1 squared is just 1. Now here you have two negatives together. When you have two negatives together, it makes a plus. So we've got 1 plus 1 plus 10, which is going to be 12. And then we'll do the minus 2, so it'd be minus 2 squared minus 2 plus 10. So minus 2 squared is 4. The two minuses here make a plus, so it'd be plus 2, which would be 6, plus 10 will be 16. So we're going to plot these on our graph. And so we've got minus 2 is at 16, so that'll be there. Minus 1 is at 12, which should be here. 0 is at 10, 1 is at 10, and 2 is at 12. Okay, when you join this up, things to be aware of is you need to make sure that you have a round U at the bottom and not a flat bottom. Okay, so you want to avoid a flat bottom. You also want to make sure that you avoid feathering like that. You want just one nice smooth line. And my recommendation is always to turn the page on its side. I don't have that luxury, so I'm going to try my best with this. But you need to make sure it goes through all the points. And here's the part here where it goes beneath those 2 points. So make sure it goes beneath those 2 points. On most exams, I see them, basically what they do is they draw a line across from those 2 points and say that the line needs to go beneath that, or your curve needs to go beneath that line. So they're looking out that you've gone beneath the line. So if we imagine we've got the 25 meter pipe here, and we've got the 35 meter pipe here. The question's basically asking us what can we cut all these pipes into, and they all have to be the same length that will fit with the 25 meter and the 35 meter. And essentially what this question's asking is what is the highest common factor of 25 and 35. So to find the highest common factor, what we do is we just find the factors of 25, which is 1 and 25 and 5 and 5, and the factors of 35, which will be 1 and 35 and 5 and 7. And the highest common factor is the number in both lists, the highest number in both lists, so it's 5. So what we can do is we can cut all of these pipes into 5 meter pipes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, not to scale, and then 7 of these. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. And so there's 7 in total. So each of these are 5 meter long, and there's no wastage. And that's the longest we can make the pipes for there to be no wastage at all. So my answer is 5 meters. So I'm going to write the equation out, the formula out. And we're asked to make y the subject, so I'm just going to get my lines in. And so what's stopping us from having y on its own? Well, this minus 1, how am I going to get rid of it? Add 1 both sides. So we've got x plus 1 equals 9y. What else do we have that stops y from being on its own? Well, there's times 9 here. So we're going to do the opposite, the inverse, which is divide by 9 both sides. And to do that nicely, what we do is we just do it as a fraction. X plus 1 over 9 equals y. So therefore y is x plus 1 over 9. So there's a few different ways of working out this question, but they all involve working out the area of the cross-section. And the cross-section is the part here. So we want to work out the area of this. And what we can do, and this is one of the methods, is we can work out the area of the full rectangle, which will be 28 by 19. And we'll call this A. And then we can take away the little part that is not there. So the missing part, which is going to be 14 across. We've got to do a bit of maths here to work out how high it is. So we've got 28 in total, 21 we don't want, so that would be 7 high. We're going to call this B. So work out the area of A. It's going to be 28 times 19, which is 532. Work out the area of B, which is going to be 98. And then to work out the area of the cross section, we're going to do the big rectangle, take away the small one, take away the bit we have missing, and that will leave 434. Now the volume of any prism is area of cross section, so cross section area times the length. So our area of cross section is 434. Our length is basically how 3D the shape is, so it's going to be 10, and so that would be 4,340. So our answer is 4,340 centimetres cubed. To work out the mass, we will need to find the density and the volume. Density is given to us in the question, but volume isn't, so we need to work out what the volume of this cuboid is. So the volume is just the 33 times the 7 times the 22. So that would be 5,082, and that would be centimetres cubed. And we need to write down the formula for density. So density is the mass divided by the volume. So rearrange this to get mass on its own, because that's the thing we're looking for. So mass equals density times volume. Density is given to us in the question as 2.1 grams per centimetres cubed. Times that by the 5,082 for the volume, and we get the answer of 10,672. And then that will give us grams, because our density is in grams, so that is grams, but the answer is asking for kilograms. So to convert that to kilograms, we just divide by 1,000, and we get 10.672. Then we need to round that to 2 decimal places, and so that would be 10.67 kilograms. We can't work out what x is straight away, but we can find this value here. And we know with Pythagoras we can find a third length if we've got other two in a right angled triangle. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And A and B were labelled. C is always opposite the right angle, so it would be 49 squared plus B squared equals 68 squared. And 49 squared is 2,401. And 68 squared is 4,624. So we are solving here, so let's get our lines down. And we're going to start by subtracting the 2,401 from both sides. So we've got b squared equals 2,223. Then we're going to square root both sides, and we've got b equal to 47.148, blah blah blah. Okay, we're now looking at the second diagram, and this time we're going to have A, we've got our B, and we're going to call X the C. So it would be a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but this time a is 39. B we are given as 47.148, we've just worked that out. And we're looking for c, in fact we can call it x now. Okay, so we need to square that. So we do 39 squared plus 47.148 squared, and that will be 3,744 equal to x squared, and we'll just get our lines in because we need to square root both sides, and we get 61.188 blah 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 is equal to x. It says it wants its 2 decimal places, so that would be 61.19. The first thing we need to do is work out the area of the floor, and you'll notice that this is a trapezium. So with a trapezium, the formula is half a plus b times h, and a and b are the parallel sides, so these ones are the parallel sides, and the height is the one connecting the two bases, the two parallel sides. So we're going to start off by writing down the formula, so it'd be half a plus b h, so half times 2.8 plus 1.2 times 11. And when we do that, we get 22. So the area of the floor is 22 meters squared. And it says here that the tiles are sold in packs which cover 3 meters squared. So if each pack covers 3 meters squared, we're going to do 22 divided by 3, which will be 7.33 packs that we need. Now obviously you can't get 0.3 of a pack or 0.33 of a pack, so we're going to have to get 8 packs and just have some left over. So we'll need 8 packs in total. Okay, next thing we look at is the fact that the Jenny has a 25% discount. So we need to find out what 25% discount would do to the £18.60 for the tiles, or for the pack of tiles. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get the £18.60 and we're going to times it by 0.75. So we're just going to find 3/4 of it because she has a 25% discount, and that would be 1,395. So that's the tiles are going to cost £13.95. Now I've done this in pence and I've kind of muddled it together here, so really let's just go back because I've kind of done this in pence. So that would be 1,860 times 0.75, and so each pack will cost 1,395, and the reason we're doing this in pence is the answer needs to be given in pence, so I might as well just make that conversion now. And so it's going to be 8 lots of the 1,395 pence packs, which will cost in total 11,160 pence, or £111.60. But Jenny has £100 to spend, and we're asked how much extra does she need. So we're going to do the 11,160, take away the 10,000 pence that she has, which will give us 1,160 pence. So she needs to find £11.60 or 1,160 pence from somewhere. So we're going to first of all convert the 11 litres into millilitres. So we're going to do 11 times 1,000, which would be 11,000. Okay, so we're going to just draw a line, like a number line, and we're going to have the 11,000 in the middle. Now, what would be the next one down if we're looking at to the nearest 10 mil? So we're going to add a 10 mil on, which will be 11,010, and we're going to take the 10 mil away. So 11,000 take away 10 mil will be 10, 990. Now when we're looking at limits with the upper and lower part of it, we are looking at halfway points. So halfway here and halfway here. So this halfway point will be 10,995, and the next one will be 11,005, and that's the halfway points. And so that is going to be our upper and lower bound. And we just need to say that V can be anything above the 10,995 and including that, and it can be anything below 11,005, but it can't include that, because if it was 11,005, it would have rounded up to 11,010. So we're going to start off with 100%, and it says that the card depreciates. That means goes down by, so it goes down by 1.7% every year. So we do 100 take away 1.7, which is 98.3, and that's percent. And we want that as a decimal, or as a multiplier we call it. And so we just divide it by 100 to make it into a decimal, 0.983. And that's our multiplier. And the beautiful thing about a multiplier is we just need the amount of years. Well, it says from 1980 to 1985, so that's going to be 5 years. So it's going to be 5 years. And so what we do is we get the original amount, which was 2,245, and times it by the multiplier 5 times. Now I can't be bothered on my calculator to times it by 0.983 5 times. So what you can do is you can do it to the power of 5, which basically means the same thing. And that gives us 2060.553. And when we round that, that would be £2,060 and 55 pence. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.